Cheryl's husband died suddenly and shockingly after complaining of pain. Left with a young son to care for, Cheryl speaks openly about parenting, denial, and coping strategies. Here is part of her amazing story.
So you're left in the middle of conversations you've had, in the middle of arguments. You're left with plans that you've made for the future that you're never going to be able to enact or modify. And my family doesn't always come together. There's tension between my two brothers, and there's even more tension between their wives, and it's like everyone put that aside. And my two sister-in-laws and I went out and we bought like a guest book for the memorial service, and we bought a couple of orchids. I had a few close friends who really decided to dedicate themselves to seeing me through this, so I was very lucky. And they'd call regularly, and if I didn't call, they'd come by, you know. Food showed up at my door. I think it's a pretty common experience that people will rally around someone who, I belonged to a synagogue, and I wasn't very active in it, but I loved the rabbi, and one of the things we have is a committee for when there are losses, and people from the synagogue called me up, and I asked Ellen Littman, who's my rabbi, to do a Shiva service for a Greek atheist that would also feel okay to his Jewish agnostic wife. It's good to take advantage of these customs because they're arranged, I think, to help you through the acute stage of grieving.
Yes.
The one thing that I sort of fought for was the right to have my denial. Like, people started to get worried about me because I was a little too cheerful. And I talk all the time about my husband, and I'd say, oh, he's dead, but I'd say it like he's in Buffalo. I would, as a strategy, say that however it hits you is okay, unless you're personally suffering a lot or unless you're doing things that are self-destructive. Like, if people are telling you that you're not eating and you're gonna starve to death, you should listen to them. Or if they're telling you that you're not making any sense, you should listen to them. But if they tell you that you're in denial and you're acting too cheerful, this is my process. Everyone's process is different. Or if they tell you you're too miserable and you're crying too much and it's time to get over it, the same thing. I mean, I think emotionally you should allow yourself to have full leeway for however you're feeling, and accept yourself and your right to feel however it is that you're feeling. I thought I was going to have, I used to hate to be alone, and part of the reason, you know, I got married when I was 20 to someone who I met when I was 17, and when I was separated from them, within 6 months I was with someone else and married them, Dean. And so and before that I had been at my parents' house, so I had never really experienced being alone. But sometime during all those iterations of relationships, I became more independent. And so when I actually was alone, there were certain things that I liked about it. Well, I learned that I should have taken more care of my son and been more attuned, and that just because someone looks okay doesn't mean they are okay. And, you know, that's sort of the regret I have of how I went through mourning, that I wasn't so involved in my own reactions and experiences and learning to live a different way, that I didn't really look after him. And some damage was done that then was recovered. He went through an extra year of high school, he got some psychotherapy, his uncle, the first year, came over every week, and that was a big help. Right, so my husband really loved me to look natural, and I was going gray, as you can see, I'm gray. And I wanted to color my hair, but he never wanted me to. So a couple months after he had passed, I said to my son, you know, I've always wanted to color my hair, what do you think? And he says, go for it, Mom. And so I got my hair colored reddish brown. I tend to flip it to a more negative side, which is I feel this incredible sense of vulnerability. And vulnerability, with the vulnerability comes a sense of preciousness, but that, you know, anything can end in a minute. It's so impressed on me that every minute of your life is another minute of your life that you either live or you don't live, and that you either use in some way that's meaningful or not, and it could end at any time. And it does make me appreciate it, and it also still makes me afraid.